Well, hello, folks. I'm Kimberly Crow. We are excited to be bringing you two amazing guys today. You're going to learn so much about marketing and how you can skip the marketing and then get really to the profits today. There are some fatal flaws in every great coach's approach to the world, and we are going to bust these myths, figure out how to avoid these fatal flaws in the future, and how to start making money from business. Today, I am joined by Jay Fairbrother and Josh Zeppes. The gentlemen here are going to share all kinds of secrets about marketing and profitability and how to actually make some cash from the programs you have, because we all want to do good in the world. We just don't want to go broke doing it. Is that right, guys?
Let's make some
100%.
cash.
I love it. All right. Well, with that, we've got a whole host of folks on today, so we can just go ahead and kick it off and we can get started and go from there.
All right. I just want to make sure everybody can see the screen. Just somebody acknowledge that in the chat. We're good to go.
We're good.
Okay. All right. Let's jump in. So the first thing we want to ask you to put in the chat is, how much money have you already spent on courses, challenges, coaches, websites, landing pages, sales funnels, paid ads, paid lead gen? Just total it all up in your head. Put that in the chat. How much have you already spent on all of this marketing to get you where you are today?
So I don't think there's enough zeros on my keyboard to make that happen. Not only that, like, we're starting off really, really deep here. I don't know if people want to advertise that. If you want to put that privately to Jay or Josh, that's totally fine. But I think a lot of us have made investments, and some of those investments have paid off and some of them have not.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No question.
I'll be open out. There were 6 zeros in mine in my marketing investment. It's a little embarrassing to say, but that's yeah. It looks like we got some of that too out here in the chat. Yeah,
and thank you, Cheryl, for, we won't say your last name, but yeah, $100,000. So and when we do this webinar, every single time we ask that question, somebody says $100,000. And I'm in that club. So welcome to that club. So the next question is, what's your ROI for all this money that you've spent on marketing? Is it positive? And go ahead and put this in the chat. Is it break even? Is it negative? Or if you're like me, is it sticking a needle in your eye? What's your ROI been on this money that you've spent on all this marketing, on these coaches, courses, sales funnels, platforms? Positive, negative, or like sticking a needle in your eye? That's somebody just put in the chat, no idea, which is actually very, very common. It's not often you actually look at that and step back and say, wait a minute, if I have everything I spent and then everything that expense brought in, it's often we don't know.
Sometimes it's even hard to track. Like we buy so many different systems and different programs, Jay, that it's like, I'm not even sure sometimes, am I getting the ROI on this? Is it because of this system, that funnel, this thing, this gimmick, that ploy? And it's very confusing.
Yeah. That case as a horse-sized needle.
A horse, oh my goodness.
That's graphic.
That's called a straw. That's what I call when I give blood. It's like sticking a straw in.
Okay, so let's make sure you're in that right place, and let's start by saying, are you in the wrong place? If you are selling T-shirts or low price programs, we just randomly say under $500, or if your main goal is just to brag about your huge email list, and you have time to do Zoom calls with anyone, and you love doing sales calls, or you're willing to coach anyone willing to pay, and you have enough coaching clients, then thank you for coming, but we're not going to be able to help you here. But are you in the right place, Josh?
Yeah, if you're in the right place, if you've been doing paid ads, other lead gen efforts with negative or unknown ROI, right? Spending money with a guru, people that say, hey, just buy my system, right? Buy this one little fancy magic word set, right? The fancy script, and this will make you $1 million like it made me. Or you're just overwhelmed with the choices. There's just so much out there, so much complexity, like we were just talking about, and you're getting in front and you're doing all of this, you're paying all this money for all these different things, and you're still getting in front of the wrong people. And then when you get in front of the right people, you're just not confident in the sales process, having that conversation, bringing your humanity to that business. And basically, if you're just tired of buying the easy pills, what we call the marketing easy pills, the get rich quick kind of concept, we all know that the pills for losing weight, the get slim and the get and lose weight fast, we know that stuff is a lot of marketing gimmick. Well, there's a similar one that we find when it comes to coaches and consultants when they try and do their marketing. There's a lot of quick fixes out there, and they typically don't work very well.
So before we go further, let's just introduce ourselves. I'm Jay Fairbrother. I'm a serial entrepreneur for the last 30 years. I've founded, bought, and sold multiple seven-figure businesses. But my experience that's relevant for tonight is that over the last couple of years, I have been working with coaches and consultants, giving them sales training to help them convert more of the clients that are already in their pipelines. This has been tremendously successful, and the value that I've brought to some of these coaches, it's just so much fun to work with the coaches. The energy is high, and it's like solving a puzzle to help them figure out how to convert more clients in their sales pipeline. And that's what I've been doing the last couple of years.
Yep, and Jay is absolutely awesome at that. I'm Josh Zeppis. Some of you may already know me as the identity archaeologist. And really all that means is I've got the honor and the pleasure to work with solopreneurs, talented professionals, dig deep into their genius, dig very, very deep, past all the crud conditioning, all that stuff that you're told growing up that you can't do this or there's no money in that. We go deep and we find that uniqueness, that purpose, mission, vision, stand, all that stuff. We bring it to the surface. We knock off that caked on, baked on conditioning, and then we polish it and refine it, basically called your brand and your message. And we refine it and polish it till it shines so bright, people come from thousands of miles to come see it. It's essentially the end of having to traditionally sell in that sense. That's us.
So why most awesome coaches aren't creating an awesome coaching business has to do a lot with these three fatal flaws that we've identified. And this is from working with coaches one-on-one, as Josh and I have done the last few years, and helping them and looking at where they get stuck and what some of the issues are. So the first fatal flaw is that you think your funnel alone is going to help you convert or convert on its own your high-end clients.
Yeah, so we have this magic funnel. That's what we're going to call it. And let's be clear about something here is about the client acquisition process, because one of the things I hear is marketing, right? We all got to do marketing. It's everything. Marketing isn't everything. It's a thing. And when it comes to client acquisition, there's actually three very distinct phases. And we tend to overemphasize marketing, but the first phase is your brand and your message. How do you make those first impressions? How does someone first find you? Then there's the marketing, which is the amplifier. Take that message, make it loud, right? Shout it from the rooftops, get in front of all kinds of people. And then that final piece is the sales conversation. So we have this funnel with three very distinct parts. And what happens is we kind of get sold on the marketing. We're saying, just buy the system, buy this quick fix, and don't worry about those other two, right? Just go ahead and make some cold first impressions, get people in, let's do the marketing thing, and then game of numbers, right? Just get a lot of people in and it'll just work out. And the challenge with that is marketing's very expensive, right? This is where we get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we ignore the other two parts of the funnel. And those are the two most human parts. And that's really what Jay and I realized when we were doing this analysis. We're like, wait a minute, the beginning part, which is this compelling first impression, this branding and messaging, and then how do you convert more clients once you're sitting down with them? These are the most human parts of this business. These are the ones that we can have the most direct impact. And so what if we can focus on those and not eliminate marketing, but maybe for now, minimize the amount of impersonal marketing that we have to do? Well, what happens is you make that great first impression, people fall in love with you, they like you, and then you get to that sales conversation directly where now they see your credibility, they learn more about your products and services, and bam, you're ready to go. And you actually were found a way to skip that marketing. How does that sound, Jay?
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to a speaker yesterday, and I started to introduce this concept of the people getting bogged down in the middle of the funnel here with all this marketing. And I didn't even get a third of the way through describing the concept that we've developed. And he stopped me and he said, "You guys nailed it. Like, I work with so many coaches, and what happens is they get the marketing out of sequence. They're spending all this money on marketing, but they haven't got that branding first impression thing right. And then they're losing people at the end because they're not focused on the last part of the funnel, the personal part. And so it's just a catch that we all do it. We all find ourselves in that because we're bombarded with all these marketing messages and ways to go on.
Yeah. And the one thing marketers don't do very well is that branding and messaging, and they don't do well in the sales conversation. So those are the two pieces that they don't really come along with the marketing aspect. So fatal flaw number 2, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Fatal flaw number 2, just get more leads coming in, right? Just volume, crank them out, turn the wheel. All leads are good leads. It doesn't even matter. It's just a numbers game. To a point, yes, there is a numbers aspect to it. But there's also something that to be said about attracting the right people to you. And if you go out there and you take, let's say, the pure marketing approach, you're pretty much coming across like a commodity, right? Whether you're talking about life insurance or coaching or consulting, we start talking about products, it's like talking about a commodity. There's no way for someone to differentiate. Should I work with you? Should I work with this other person? Right? So that fatal flaw number 2 is about let's just put as many people in. It doesn't matter. We'll filter them out or something will happen along the way. And again, it just waters everything down. It dilutes your value as a coach, as a consultant, and it wastes a lot of time. So really the key is going to be to focus in on that uniqueness. Bring your uniqueness to the front of your message instead of your product and service, and it will change the conversations you're having forever. So for example, talk about what you do, not how you do it. And I'm going to challenge everyone who's listening right now. What you do is probably not actually what you do. So let me give you an example. A very common one, because I was, whoops. Can anyone still hear me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, sorry.
Yep,
No, my screen just went off. That's why. All right, no big deal. So a very common one when I was in the industry, in the financial industry, was I used to ask people like, so what do you do? And they'd be like, I sell life insurance. I do investments. Okay, but that's not actually what you do, right? That's how you do what you do. So I want everyone to change their mindset. They're kind of like put this little mind hack in here. Maybe what you do is you make sure that my wife doesn't have to go beg for money on like GoFundMe if I die in a car accident tomorrow, because no person should ever have to beg and grieve at the same time. Maybe you make sure my 4-year-old daughter can afford college. I mean, there could be all kinds of things, but what you do is the transformation. How you do it is through, let's say, life insurance, or how you do it is through your coaching and your consulting. So that's just a small little tip. When you introduce yourself, make sure you're talking about what you do in terms of transformation, not the how. The how will come later on the second impression, the third impression, after someone buys your heart, after they know why you're in this business and they love you for it. Now they're going to want to learn more about your products and services.
Yeah, Josh, I was talking to a coach the other day and asking, I started asking, what are your goals? And, basically it came down to their goals were they wanted to get high-end coaching clients and they wanted to get 5,000 followers on social media. And I just, stopped and I said, why do you want 5,000 followers? Yeah. Because, the idea is good, right? You become an authority figure and you have all these people following you, but don't you really just want the coaching clients? Like, isn't that really what it's about? And so many people spend so much time and effort to get all those 5,000 people into the funnel. And my approach with her was, look, let's get 100 good people into the funnel and work on getting 5 new coaching clients at the bottom. Don't worry right now about getting those 5,000 followers. Let's get some more coaching clients that are high end, that are going to give you the flexibility and freedom to go after the 5,000 followers. So
exactly. And everyone knows this too, about having a very specific client avatar, right? Specifically, who are you speaking to? Whose heart are you reaching out and trying to touch? And the more detail you can get, the better your message is going to be up front, the better that first impression. And people say, well, Josh, but what if, am I going to like alienate everyone not in that specific niche? No. You will actually attract more people that way. because people are attracted to people going somewhere. People are attracted to people that are willing to take a stand for something good, stand against something bad, either way. That's what people are looking for. Because look, if you try to sell to everyone, you're going to attract no one.
Absolutely. And then the last flaw is just that you're losing too many people out the bottom of the funnel. And the way I phrase it is your funnel's leaking. And again, it's one of these things that very few people pay attention to. If I ask someone, out of every 5 clients that you get in front of on a Zoom call, like at the end of your funnel, now it's time to try to convert them into a high-end coaching client, how many do you convert? And most people don't even know the answer to the question. They're usually guessing. And I was like, well, you might want to track that, because you can improve that ratio actually quite dramatically just by getting more confident and comfortable with the selling process. And most coaches who want a high-end client, and just for rough terms, we're talking $1,000 or more program, you're going to need to get in front of them. It is personal at that point. They're hiring you as a coach, you the person, not just your fancy marketing that describes what your coaching program is about. They connect with you. They need to know, like, and trust you. And know, like, and trust is just the basis for selling. That's where you have, that's the bottom line you have to have. And then if you add some skills and confidence on top of that, it changes the game entirely. So think about all the money and effort you're expending to get people through that marketing funnel until you get in front of them. And then what do you do when you get in front of them? And it's flip, but I say, don't show up and throw up. I often talk in terms of coaching or selling like you coach. In other words, every coach knows that you would never show up at your first client session and talk 70% of the time. That instinctually as a coach. But when coaches a lot of coaches get in a selling situation, suddenly they're talking 70% of the time. They're going into the corporate speak or professor speak and using big words and flowery language to try to impress somebody with what they do and how they do it. So the question is, what if you weren't afraid of getting personal? What if you could convert an additional 1 to 2 out of every 5 prospects that you meet with? I mean, literally do that math in terms of the ROI that would bring you, because again, you've already spent the money to get them there. You've already spent the time and effort to get in front of 5 people. If you could convert an extra 1 or 2, that's money right to your bottom line. That's basically pure profit. One of the things I talk a lot about in when I work with coaches on sales is storytelling, because everybody knows stories sell, facts tell, right? You've heard that. But most people don't know how to tell stories, and more importantly, when to tell stories and when to tell the right story and how to construct that story. And it's not rocket science, but stories for coaches is one of the easiest ways to get more comfortable with selling, because it's not uncomfortable to tell a story, especially, the story always has to be true, and it resonates with you. And it's the easiest way to demonstrate and illustrate how you help people is just by telling stories. So I could talk about stories for hours, but that's just one of the little things that you can do is telling stories and learning how to use stories in the sales process.
Absolutely. And humans are emotional creatures. That is how you actually get in and have them be able to relate to you, have them see themselves in your story. So Jay's 100% right. Telling the right story is critical. I've seen a lot of wrong stories. I've seen a lot of resumes and biographies and some weird stuff out there. So yeah, telling the right story and just realizing that being human in business isn't just easier. It's not just, it's actually more profitable, right? It's easier and it's more profitable. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
One of our taglines is profits are now personal. Meaning that, again, thinking of those high-end coaching clients, there's very few coaches that have been around long enough and have the authority that they can get high-end coaching clients without a one-on-one call at the end to convert somebody and get them to actually sign up. And that's the important part. And what we're saying is that you really just need those 2 things. If you're attracting the right people, not all the people, into your funnel because of your messaging and branding, and then you get better and more comfortable at converting them into clients at the bottom of the funnel, you don't get stuck. And again, this is where, this whole idea comes from Josh and I working with coaches the last few years and seeing where they get stuck. They get to a point where, yeah, you get some clients, you get some revenue, and then you get overwhelmed. Anytime we hang a coach shingle on our social media profiles, we're bombarded every day with messages, pitches, people trying to sell us things, usually related to marketing, right? The funnel, the platform, the paid ads, the lead gen.
I have to get 15 a day on LinkedIn. Just LinkedIn alone, I probably get 15 messages.
Yeah,
absolutely.
About that. And the thing is that there's nothing wrong with marketing. When we say skip the marketing, we're not saying marketing is bad.
No.
We're just saying that build up clients and revenue to the point where you can then reinvest in the marketing and build out that automation and then start to build that following and get your authority figure overgrown. But the message we're trying to say is that you can get high-end coaching clients without all that marketing. You can get high-end coaching clients by simply attracting the right people and being comfortable in converting them with a one-on-one call.
And you do that by building yourself. That's all we're really talking about here. The two most human parts of that funnel is how you introduce yourself, how much clarity you have and why you exist and why you're in business, and how you have that sales conversation at the end. How do you help people make the right decision for themselves?
Yeah. So that brings us to, what are your options, right? Now we've identified the problem, but what are your options? Josh, go ahead on this.
All right. I can't, my screen is completely black. So you just got to tell me what slide we're on, because I can't see anything. I'm afraid to touch.
It's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, go figure.
All right. So I'll cover your options. So your options are do it yourself, right? Which is what most coaches and entrepreneurs, that's our nature. That's inbred in our nature, right? Well, I'll just figure it out myself. I'll Google branding videos and I'll, read sales books and, damn it, I can do this on my own. And that is fine. And you can do that, but it's a long process, obviously, to do that. I mean, I meant to ask this question earlier, like how many people that are here today have courses that they've bought that are sitting on the shelf, they never open, yet you paid for them. And
I got to hide my face a little bit on this one.
Yeah. Well,
we actually talked about that on Playhouse today, where we were talked about make friends with your refund policy, right? If you're not using it and there's a 30-day refund on it, some of us make snap decisions, right? But if you make a snap decision because you want to grab the bonuses or you want to make the investment, great. But if you haven't used it by the time the refund policy is winding down, maybe take a really long, hard look at it and find out if we need to keep that or move on.
Right. And the 100%. Other thing most people do is they get more shiny objects or they just double down on the marketing. It's like, well, I spent $5,000 on marketing and that has
Jay, one more quick thing on the DIY. I want to make sure this is very clear. DIY isn't always less expensive. That's not what that means. Because if you think about it, technically, everything's DIY. If you want to fly across the country, you can go get your pilot's license, get a plane, right? You can do all that stuff. But again, why? You can do your own root canal. But why? Does that really make sense? So just be careful going the DIY route when there are experts out there, and it's far less costly in terms of time, energy, and money to go work with an expert.
Yeah. Or you can double down on the marketing. You spent $5,000, you got a couple of clients out of that. So I'm going to spend another $5,000 to get a couple more and hopefully it works out at the end. So
but Jay, I just didn't find the right one. I just didn't find, if I just keep finding and looking into the sand, I'll find the right shiny object that'll work, won't I?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of that was my thought process anyways. Oh, I just bought the wrong program. I'll just go get this other one. This must be the right one.
Yeah. So your other option here is to learn to fish. Because again, you can go out and buy lots of courses and read and watch videos and read lots and that kind of stuff. But what you really don't need is more knowledge. What you really need is some skills and to improve these two areas of attracting the right people and then getting better at converting them at the end. So before we go any further, because I'm sure most of you have been on webinars like this before, and we're going to offer you a solution, but I just want to stop right here and say this is not just another course we're throwing at you to sit on the shelf. And more importantly, in a few minutes, we're going to talk about our double or nothing guarantee, that we will guarantee this program works for you or your money back.
Yep.
So, Josh, I assume you still can't see this.
I heard that. So it's a double or nothing guarantee. So you're going to propose, I'm guessing you're going to propose a program for us, but if like we just talked about, like make friends with your guarantee, right? Like if it's not like well, I want to know about this double or nothing guarantee.
All right, patience, Kimberly, patience.
We're
going to get there. So yeah, well, it's kind of like in this program, you're combining two experts. Josh is very good at what he does and has a very successful track record helping clients do what he does. And I have a great track record doing what I help clients with. So it's kind of like that. That's where we got the idea, actually, is, it's two experts for the price of one. Why not offer a double or nothing guarantee rather than just a guarantee? So we'll get to that in a second. So the Skip the Marketing program we've developed is 6 weekly mastermind group coaching sessions, as well as 6 modules of video content. And the important thing in those modules is there's actually exercises that you can do and I'm going to flip back here because, Josh, let's talk a little bit more about this knowledge, skills, and assets.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up especially when you buy a course and it just tells you what to do, right? It just gives you the knowledge, but you don't have an opportunity to practice it, to develop the skill. And then even if you do have that, then you don't have the assets, or let's call them the tools, to actually put that stuff into play. So think of it in terms of building a house. Like you got the knowledge, so you know what the house looks like, you got the blueprints, that's great. But do you have a hammer? And do you know how to swing the hammer the right way without busting your thumb and without breaking the board that you're swinging on? And do you have enough tools to go out there and do all that stuff? That's the concept of knowledge, skills, and assets. So my favorite one of all those, I mean, you need them all, but my favorite one, honestly, are the assets. When you walk away with actual tangible assets, business assets that you own, that you can immediately apply to your business.
And my favorite one is the skills, because I always say sales is 80% confidence and 20% art.
Oh yeah.
Meaning the 20% can never be science, because marketing can be a science, but sales is a conversation. It's a two-way conversation. So you can never make it a science. It's an art form. And to, like any great artist, athlete, musician, you can't just jump in and be a great artist. You have to develop basic skills first and practice those skills and work on them over and over. There's an expression they say at Speakers Playhouse where, the first 100 times you give a speech, it's just practice. And that's exactly the mentality that any great artist, musician, athlete uses, is that exact same philosophy.
And that's the purpose of the mastermind groups. And let's be very clear on what, everyone's heard the term mastermind before, and I see it's gotten hijacked. It's kind of gotten diluted, in my opinion. There's a lot of, quote unquote masterminds out there where it's just like networking group. It's like, no, that's not a mastermind. We actually run a true mastermind where and they call it in the industry, they call it a hot seat, where you get put on the hot seat. We don't call it that. We call it a love seat, because we're just going to douse you with the truth out of a place of love and concern and kindness. But you actually get the spotlight, if you want it, where we can work on something specific, some challenge, something that happened the prior week, some obstacle you have to overcome. In other words, I call it the pebble in the shoe. What is that pebble in the shoe that's stopping you from running forward? Not just walking, but running. Mastermind's not about solving world peace. We're not going to go and work on, your entire life all at once, but we're going to work on that thing that's holding you back that week. And that's going to let you move forward. And that's how a true mastermind works. And then you get to your other people in their masterminds, and we all get to collaborate. We all get to help. And few things are more powerful than a well-run mastermind.
Josh, let's go ahead and talk about what's in your first 3 modules of the program.
Perfect. And my screen came back, so I can kind of see. I don't want to touch
There
anything.
you go.
Uh, the gods were smiling. I don't know. All right. So this first part is all about brand and message. It's all about how do you introduce yourself to the world in a way that positions you to be unique. So stage 1 is the micro brand. This is where you actually get clarity. Why am I in business? Why do I exist? And how do I articulate that to the world? And with clarity, by the way, don't forget comes confidence, which is kind of that analytical, if clarity is I know this, confidence is I got this. Like I know that I know. But there's one more level that we start touching upon, and that's called conviction. And conviction is what happens when your confidence, where everything goes from your head to your heart. It's no longer what you do, it's now what you are. And when you hit that conviction level, you just walk into a room and people are like, whoa, I don't know what she does, but she knows what she does, and I got to find out. That's where it's just, you're like a magnet. And then we create assets. So to help deliver this clarity, to help create it, purpose, mission, vision, stand, this micro brand core, and then bringing that uniqueness out. Then we get into prospecting and networking. How do you articulate your brand now? How do you go out there and give a really killer networking pitch or elevator pitch? And by the way, we don't do scripts. I say strip the script. I don't believe in them, because if you're going to borrow someone else's words, now you can go buy that, script from that guy who says, hey, maybe $1 million, just say these magic words. There are no magic words. There's only the right words. There's only the words that you actually believe that are your truth. If you borrow that guy's truth and you try and use it, you're lying. And that's why that stuff doesn't work. So we have to articulate with your truth, and we have to get that out there. And then remember, the goal of networking, the goal of that kind of pitch is to get to the second impression. It's not to make the sale right then and there, which I see a lot of folks trying to do. And then finally, presenting. How do you get out there and tell your story, your personal story, overcome all the fear of public speaking? Because really, we're really not so much afraid of public speaking. And you're talking to an introvert here. I'm a severe introvert. I was 20 years as an engineer in corporate, just sitting in a cubicle. So I know about being introverted, but there is a special way to have a one-on-one conversation with 1,000 people all at the same time. And that is something special, where you get off, I call it the emotional stage. And we go into detail about how to do that and how to give that killer presentation so you can go out there and shine, because that's what it's all about. This is about going from shy to shine. Back to you, Jay.
All right. And then the rest of the modules in this program are about selling and getting more comfortable and confident in the selling process. I haven't run into too many coaches who love selling. And the point that when I do sales training, my goal is not to create, make you a salesperson or make you a master of sales. Not at all. In fact, in most of my experience over 30 years building sales teams and doing sales training for literally thousands of people, I always geared the training, and we always hired people without prior sales experience, because I didn't ever want to work with those bad habits that people have from the typical kinds of sales training that are often based in corporate sales. And that's a very different thing than selling one-on-one to somebody and selling yourself and selling your coaching services. So the key thing is just to be authentic and do it with integrity, sell like you coach, get your confidence increased. And then also, it always comes down to ROI. That's the other thing that people get lost on is, in the end, people don't care how you do what you do. They want to know, how can you help me? Can you help me with my pain points? And in selling, there's the pain points that people want to move away from. And then there's the future, the ROI that people want to move toward. In general, that's an 80-20 relationship too. Most people, 80% want to move away from pain, but the 20, and sometimes, and that varies in each person. Some people are more motivated by what they're moving toward. So you need to be able to use both and understand how to convey both when you're doing sales calls. And then the last part is just how to ask for the sale. So many people get so uncomfortable with that, where another thing that I see so often is when it comes time to name your prices, suddenly the body language changes. You can see that the tone of the voice changes. and you're just not confident when it comes to naming price. So these are all the kinds of things that we cover in the modules, including a framework for handling objections. And in fact, I don't even like to call them objections, because typical sales terminology is you have to overcome objections. That just sounds manipulative. There's an easy process, because most objections are just fears and concerns and unanswered questions that people have, or they haven't seen enough ROI yet to be able to say, yes, I want this, sign me up. So those are the kinds of things that we cover in the last modules in the course. And then again, back to the mastermind, the whole concept is you come to the mastermind with the exercises you've done through doing the modules. You come with your branding questions and your sales questions and your scenarios to say, hey, I was on a call the other day and this happened and I wasn't sure how to handle it. Can I run by my name for my new program? Can I get you guys advice for how I'm positioning and my sales messaging?
That was our call today, right, Jay? That we had.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's about turning that, because the knowledge alone doesn't help you. It's the skill and building those assets is where you really make a difference. And these are foundational things, right? This isn't like a one and done thing where it's like, okay, I did this, and at the end of it, I got, some return on it. No, these are things you're going to use the rest of your life. And as long as you're a coach and marketing yourself, these are skills that you're going to have to use going forward. So what we're offering, as we said, 2 experts for the price of 1. I like to say 2 bald guys for the price of 1.
I like that even better.
And, Josh and I are already selling this similar content and working with coaches on each of our respective areas successfully. And what we've done is brought it together to try to give you something that's just literally 1 + 1 = 3. All right, Kimberly, here we are. Our double or nothing guarantee. So here's what it is. If you don't double your ROI, we'll give you your money back within 60 days. So if you don't, and we have no way of measuring this. So if you want to lie and say, I didn't get my value out of this, go ahead. We're going to trust you, and we're confident enough in what we're offering to say, look, if you don't feel like you have at least doubled your investment, we'll just give you your money back.
Absolutely. And we are that confident, because I can't tell how many times we've been on a call or we've been working with someone, and it's just been absolutely life-changing, business changing, the way they look at things. And I've had people tell us that we don't think we're charging enough, to be honest. So we're like, you know what, we can do this. We have full confidence, and either get your money back or we'll keep working with you. If you want to shoot for that double or nothing, if you don't get there in that 60 days, we'll keep working with you too. That's another option.
This is fantastic. I think, definitely a lot of people are worried about making another purchase and spending more money. And this here is not a new purchase that's an expense. This is an investment in an opportunity to be able to really learn what you need to do in order to convert and start making more money. And if it doesn't work, they're putting their money where their mouth is. Jay and Josh are willing to say, we want you to make double what you are spending with us, or we will give you a refund for that, or continue to work with you until you have made that. And I think that's really more than fair. I really, really like this offer.
And that's a good point. We can't take what you learn here and the assets and the skills that can never be taken away from you. This isn't something where, like, if whatever happens, all of a sudden you don't get access to something. No, everything you're going to learn, all the skills you're going to build, and all the assets you create are immediately yours. You take that's yours, no matter what happens, even after that. Even if you do decide to get your money back for some reason, if you don't hit that goal, it's all yours.
Awesome. So if you guys want to put a link in the chat where people can opt in, if they would like to do that, that would be fantastic. And then also, I know that we have a couple of questions in the chat. If you guys have questions, we would love to hear them and find out what questions you might have. Just go ahead and drop some questions in the chat. If you have them, we will try to, in the time that we have left, get the gentleman to answer that for you. But we do want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to grab it. So if you would open it up and just put it on your machine and make sure that the link works for you. Sometimes it works for us, but it doesn't work for you guys. So we want to be sure that it is working for you. You should see on your screen the price that is the original price, which is 10,500 and the 81% off. Now it's just 1997. And that is a double or nothing guarantee. So that if you are able to make $4,000 from taking action on the things that they're describing, fantastic. If you're not, they'll continue to work with you until you do, or there is a money back guarantee. It looks like they also have some bonuses for you as well. One of the questions in the chat, before we do that, can I just put, if you guys think that that's totally fair, or, you know, like, can I just put totally fair in the chat box? Because I really, really think that being able to have the providers that are supporting you put their money where their mouth is and be able to support that, just put totally fair in the chat box, because I really do think that this is a totally awesome offer. All right, Jay or Josh, does this help us find the people to market to, is one of the questions that is being asked. Are you going to help them find the people to whom they should market?
Great question. And that is the slide we're on right now. Mm-hmm. So yes, we decided to do this bonus module on getting organic traffic without spending money. We started this, Josh, what did we figure, about 45 minutes of content?
We figured between 30 and 45 minutes, hit a few key things. And then how long did we end up recording?
It's almost 3 hours of content on how to get organic traffic. We just, once we got down the rabbit hole, we kept excited. Going and going and going. So there's literally 3 hours of ideas for you to get organic traffic, to get that magic perfect 100 into the top of your funnel, and hopefully convert at least 5 at the bottom, which gives you your double or money back guarantee. But
we didn't even get everything. We didn't even get everything out. I think we just got tired on it. So there's probably more that'll come out through the mastermind courses. And as people have particular experiences or challenges that they want to mastermind on, then more will come out, no doubt.
Yeah. So this is some of the topics that we talk about in this organic traffic module. And here's what we're doing with this 24-hour thing, because this is important, because we recognize that not everybody's ready to make a decision right now. We hope you are, and we have something special for you if you are ready right now to make that decision. But if you have questions that we can't answer tonight, or you want to sit on it for 24 hours, this offer with the bonus module and the price is good for 24 hours. But we're not done yet. We still have some extra bonuses. Josh does a whole thing on being a LinkedIn legend. I do this whole exercise on finding your profit why, which is kind of like finding your business why, but with an edge towards thinking about profits. Those are additional bonuses. So just to recap, 6 course modules with exercises, 6 small group coaching mastermind sessions.
And those don't all have to be in a row, Jay. I just want to make sure everyone understands. You can choose, if you can't make 6 in a row, that's fine. You get to choose any 6, because we do it weekly, and you'll get to choose any ones you want to come to.
You get the 2 extra bonuses, 2 ball guys for the price of 1, no need for additional marketing expense, double ROI guarantee. And if you're ready right now and you sign up before the webinar ends, we're going to throw in a one-on-one coaching session with one of us for free.
Nice.
That's for the people who don't need to think about it. They know this is the right program for them.
That's fair.
I mean,
So yes, if you do it now, you're going to get the one-on-one coaching. There is a guarantee, so there's no risk. And on top of that, if you do need to wait, because some of us are like, I don't buy right instantaneously. That's totally fine. You'll miss out on that one-on-one coaching session, but the pricing is still good for 24 hours. And I think that's very, very fair and honest. So if you guys would grab that, that would be fantastic. Sin's asking about a payment plan. Do you have anything to break these leads down for 2K? Do you have a way to break that down?
Look at that, like
Wow,
magic.
right
a
on cue.
Payment plan appears.
Well, we are just feeding you information here. Thank you, Sin.
Yes, if it's more comfortable, you can do 2 payments in the first payment of $1,097 and then a second 30 days later. And remember, that's the other thing about, most guarantees, money back guarantees, they give you 30 days. We're giving you 60. We want you to get the full experience, because we're so confident that after the full experience that you're going to be like, oh my God, I way more than doubled my investment on this. And this is stuff that I can use now forever. That's why we're doing that. And that's why, as Kimberly said, we're putting our money where our mouths are. And our mouths are pretty big. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you can grab that now. Anything else that they need to know in order to make a decision? Are the payments a month apart?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool.
And I have a question. There's some questions here about would you be open to critiquing what we have? Absolutely. That's what those mastermind group sessions are about, is being able to get that one-on-one feedback. So absolutely, we can do that. And one last thing I want to do is if you have questions, if you're not ready to take advantage right now, but you do get that extra one-on-one coaching session with one of us, I put Josh and I's schedule links, calendar links in the chat. We kept our calendars open tomorrow. If you want to schedule something with us tomorrow, short, 15-minute call just to ask questions, make sure you're comfortable, make sure this is a right fit for you. That's an option too. So again, the price is good for 24 hours. If you sign up right now, the bonus is the extra free session of one-on-one coaching. That's all I got.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. We'll wrap now. If you have any questions, we want to be sure that we get those questions answered. But it shows no times are available.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah. So we'll check our calendars as soon as we end here and make sure those slots are available tomorrow.
Okay, great.
I know we both left it open.
Okay, fantastic. So we will just keep that. If you keep it open, then you can refresh your screen and have that conversation with them. If you decide you want to buy now and you're ready to, then you get that extra in one-on-one session. If you need the 24 hours to wait or figure out what credit cards or figure out what payment plan, that's totally fine. You're only missing out on the one-on-one session. So it's still a very, very complete offer even without that. And so I hope some of you are willing to take a chance on that. And as we say, reducing the risk as much as possible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for being here with us today. And thank you, gentlemen, for carving time out of your day to share this with our group. I really, really appreciate it. Before we let you go, any final words for our team?
This is what we love doing. So, we love sharing, we love adding value. And, like I mentioned before, I know Jay has a high level of conviction in what he does, and I've got very high level conviction in what I do. So this isn't even what we do, it's just what we are. And anytime we can bring value back to the coaching and consulting and to other professionals like this, it's just an absolute pleasure and an honor. So just very happy to share.
And my last word is just jump in. The water's warm. You'll get a lot of love and support, and we're going to help you. There's just that failure is not an option. We will help you succeed.
I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you back at Speakers Playhouse, or if you're on the drop, that's coming right up as well. Super excited to have everybody here. Hope you're having a great night. We'll see you soon. Cheers.